I gotta hit the button.
The broadcast is live.
All right.
Did you hear too that he might be a supporter too?
Oh,
yeah. He said that he doesn't like. He's like, I'm not gonna tell you who I voted for, but I think old Boar's conservative.
I think my friend Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
I do believe that he does want to work with both sides. He's seen both sides. He knows what Hollywood is like. I believe Matthew McConaughey might be on our team.
He might be. All right. It's a strong possibility.
Welcome, everyone. This is Rager Appreciation Week, and today I have Slayer Sigma. Actually, it's Slayer Sigma ZETA.
Right, yeah.
I better get that right. He is my all-time favorite Rager. He's my favorite Rager for so many reasons. Number one, he's a metalhead. Number two, he is ex-Air Force, correct?
Right.
Number three, he is one of the most intelligent human beings I think that I have found on all of YouTube. And there's a lot of intelligent people on YouTube, and I really believe he's one of the best.
Listen, you're fucking gonna make my head swell to the point where it's not gonna be able to be taken back down, so.
Well, I'm not even done yet. I haven't gotten to the first part. Number four, if I think I'm still on number four, he is a patriot. He is a diehard patriot. Number five is Boricua. Number six,
an American.
He is probably as close to a therapist that I think that I have.
Shit.
And let me tell you why.
You would not want me for a therapist.
Hold on. I got to tell you why. It is because this gentleman can dissect a personality disorder and see so many things and so many connections and so many patterns. He has really actually helped me. Watching his videos has actually helped me kind of unravel a lot of stuff about myself and the people around me, and looking at it in terms of the hero's quest and psychology. And then he's a Star Wars fan too. So welcome to the show, Slayer Sigma ZETA.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm sure you do. And
everybody, if you're not subscribed to Red Pill, you better fucking I will come after you. I mean, after that introduction, if you're not subscribed to her, you're in fucking trouble with me. Just saying.
Well, listen, we have got I don't want to take up too much of your time because you're busy. Can you tell everyone anything that I skipped, anything that I left out? Maybe tell everyone a little bit about your channel, and when it sounds like you've always been pretty conservative, but when you had that moment where you had to flip your channel from being about music reviews to saving our country.
Well, yeah, I mean, for like the longest time, I'd always considered myself like a moderate centrist. Like I wasn't conservative, I wasn't liberal. I thought I was like a little bit of both. And for a long time, that suited who I was, until like all this hyper political bullshit started coming up. And my channel was, I forgot how it started. Like I was just surfing through YouTube, and one channel that I ran into in particular is called Sigma Philosophy. I don't even know if he's still on, honestly, but he started like delving into personality archetypes, and I started listening to him. And when he started describing the Sigma, because everybody's heard of an alpha and a beta, but he's like, well, there's so many other archetypes out there that people don't know about. So he started naming off the Sigma. And every bullet point that he named off, I'm like, I'm that, I'm that, I'm that. Holy shit, I'm a fucking Sigma. This is crazy. So I started really getting deep into that. And I'm like, you know what, fuck it. People need to learn about this particular personality archetype. So let me just start up a channel. And I think like my first video is still like my most popular. So like 40,000 views or some shit right now. And I never expected that to happen. So I started, making friends with a lot of other YouTubers who also describe themselves as Sigma. Excuse me. And it just kind of took off from there. And that was about, I'd say, like 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago now. And like I said, politically, I wasn't really politically involved. I really didn't fucking care too much. Like back in 2016, I voted third party. I voted Libertarian because, for one, I couldn't stand fucking Hillary Clinton. I was never going to vote for that bitch. And I didn't know too much about Trump at the time. I just like, the only thing I know about this guy is he's a millionaire and he had like this reality TV show. That's about all I know. So I'm not going to go with either candidate. I'm just going to fucking vote Libertarian. I'm just going to vote right in the middle. And it stayed that way for a good long time until about the beginning of this year. Like, I'd say my flipping point was the whole George Floyd shit, where, I mean, I was never really big on Black Lives Matter before this, but they were never this much of a threat. And, as soon as that happened and I saw all the riots and all this and all that, I was like, no, fuck this shit. This is ridiculous. So that's when I started getting introduced to people like fucking Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, Brandon Tatum, Anthony Brian Logan. I just started, fucking binging all these conservative people. And the funny thing about it was, even though I considered myself equal parts liberal and conservative, the word conservative always had like a negative connotation with me. Like when I thought about the word conservative, I thought about people like fucking Bill O'Reilly. I thought about people like Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh. I'm like, I don't want to fucking be like that, So I'm like, maybe, the whole conservative thing is not really for me. But then they started breaking it down, like what conservative actually means. And then in my own mind, I'm like, well, shit, I've been right-leaning this whole time and never really knew it. Like, I've always been pro-Second Amendment. I've always been pro-life. I've always been extremely big on small government. So I'm like, all these are conservative talking points. And I'm like, shit, I guess there's no denying it anymore. I'm a fucking conservative. And that's kind of the whole genesis of that.
I love it. So, you just recently put out a video where you lost your shit, and I lost my shit. And well, I think that's why I love you so much, is because we both lose our shit on a regular basis. But it's like, us being Sigma, I think one of the traits of being Sigma is that we honestly just want to be left alone. And exactly. And like you, when I had held myself, considered myself apolitical for many years. I never talked about my political beliefs with anybody. I never put it on my podcast. And my podcast was about craft beer. I never put it out there. I never talked about representation or fucking inclusivity or any of that bullshit. Like, I wanted to do that on my own 2 feet. And by the way, Ragers, I found out recently, didn't even know, I was on the list of like the top best craft beer podcasts of 2020 as number 8.
Ooh, look at
that. And I didn't even know. Nobody called me. Nobody sent me a memo telling me I had made this list. Nice. So anyway, I mean, the whole time I was in craft beer, restaurants, culinary, never talked about anything. But the George Floyd thing happened. Everybody jumped on the political bandwagon. All of a sudden, everybody was woke. All of a sudden, this black supremacy just started playing out, got worse and worse and worse. I'm already snapping because we're in the middle of COVID. This is in what, May? You know?
Right, yeah.
I'm already losing my shit because everyone around me is going out of business. And then George Floyd, really? And it's like the war that has begun. I never, ever, ever thought it would turn out like this.
Yeah, neither did I. Like, I mean,
never dreamed.
People would like fucking bring up the shit about the right and the left, and like I said, it never really held that much sway with me until I started seeing how much of a threat the left has become. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this riding the fence bullshit anymore. I gotta fucking, like, one of the big things, like, I've of course always proud to be an American. I served my country. I took an oath, and I was always very patriotic on that point. And when it comes down to people actually threatening the future of this country, trying to burn down this republic, no, that's when I get off the fucking fence and I'm like, no, now I have to join a side. Now I don't have any choice in the matter.
Yep, the line has been drawn. And I just had this conversation with one of my favorite ragers yesterday. She came out and she met me for lunch. She lives out here in the Bay Area too. So she lives in the same shithole that I live in, the same nightmare that I live in. And it's like, and I know you see this as well because you're a sci-fi geek. I forgot to put that on your top 10 lists of amazing qualities.
Damn right.
But it's like every episode of Black Mirror is coming to life.
Yeah,
every episode of Twilight Zone is coming to life. Every episode of The Outer Limits that I've ever seen is coming to life. Every Ray Bradbury book that I've ever read is coming to life. And I am scared shitless. And like you, we cannot straddle the fence at this point. If you vote for Joe Biden, you are pro-pedophilia, you are pro-communism, and you're a traitor to your country. Period.
Yeah, that's the way I see it too. Yep.
You don't have to.
I never wanted to reach this point. I mean, like I said, I never really wanted it to reach this point, and I was more than willing. Back in the day when I considered myself in the middle, I was like, all right, let's sit down and talk about it or whatever. Let's come to the table and talk about political differences and all this other kind of shit. But when the left reached the point where they're like, no, there is no more talking. You either believe this, you're with us, or you're not. I mean, even the most hardline conservative who consider themselves the most fair-minded person. I mean, I don't know if everybody thinks like this, but this is the way that I am. Once I reach a point where you push me over the edge, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this talking shit. I'm going to treat you exactly the way you've been fucking treating me. You want to fucking shut me down? You want to shut down all conservative talking points? You want to shame us? You want to fucking attack Trump supporters just because they're wearing a hat? No, fuck you. I'm going to bring that right back on top of you. You have a fucking Biden lawn sign in front of your house. You are considered my enemy right now. I consider you a traitor to this country. If you're a fucking Democrat at this point, I consider you a traitor to your country. It is what it is.
Damn.
I mean, it is,
it's like that.
The talking is done.
I can't say it any better myself. So, all right. So let's have fun for a minute. Just for a minute.
Just for a minute. That's it. Fuck.
That's it. I know. Quickie.
Damn.
Tell us about your current projects. I want to know more about your project, what it's about. Give us a little synopsis. Let us know when a trailer will be ready so we can follow you and see it once you've gotten into a little bit of it.
All right. I had this idea for a while. I'm talking like maybe 3-4 years at this point, and I was just kind of developing it, and then this year comes around, and I'm all hyper political. I'm not really focused on anything else. Like, I put my fucking entertainment career on a fucking back burner because at this point, fucking Hollywood's a shit fest right now. So I just kind of was like, I mean, I hadn't given up on it, but I'm like, this is just so far in the back of my mind right now. But Halloween rolls around. If anybody knows me, that's one of my favorite times of year. I've always loved horror, always loved it. And I'm at one of my friend's house. There's like 3 or 4 of us there. And for some reason or another, we start watching the Blair Witch Project. So I don't know what that did, but like it's just like this old idea that I had for years now kind of came to the forefront. And I started pitching it to my friends and shit. And they're like, you know what, that actually sounds pretty good. Like, why don't we fucking do something like this? Like the whole found footage type thing, it's kind of been played out at this point. So what we decided to do was kind of make it like a crime mockumentary documentary style. And just basically we just came up with a story was, well, what if 3 or 4 dudes go out and, you know, camping in the woods one day and they fucking vanish off the face of the earth? And you know, the ideas just kind of built from there, and we started coming up with crazy shit. And we're like, well, we're not really in a position to do this in like, you know, the typical cinematic style of just like a straight movie. So we'll just do it this way, present it as like a crime documentary or whatever, and we'll you know, hire a bunch of actors to you know, give like interviews of different characters and shit, and we'll just run it from there. And like it's like, you know, we had the script written within, I'd say, a week and a half. Like we were just fired up. We were energized after that night. We're like, all right, let's fucking put everything in the pot, go off and fucking write. Each one of us worked on a different section. We met like 3 or 4 days later. We compared notes. We changed what we felt needed to be changed, and we compiled it all into one script, and that was our fucking movie. So that's basically the gist. It's like, you know, the whole mystery of how these 3 guys disappeared, and, you know, all the crazy fucking clues that have been popping up and shit. And like one of the great things about it is there's like there's not even an attempt in the film to explain what happened. Like the mystery is still unsolved at the end of the film, and it just leaves the door wide fucking open to like continue. Like we have the ability to like make this into our own franchise. Like if we wanted to, we could like make countless sequels off of this. If we wanted to, we could take it into like even a television, you know, type deal. If we wanted, we could make it into an ARG. We could do so many different things with this idea that it's just insane.
You can make a comic book too.
Or a comic book, right? I mean, there's just so many different directions that we could take it, but this is kind of like, you know, the whole catalyst shit.
Cool. So you said you start filming next week. So we all wish you the best of luck with that. When do you think you can at least get a little trailer for us? Maybe the first of the year?
I would say before the end of the year, yeah. Like because we only have like 2 or 3 filming days that we actually need to like film everything that we need for, you know, the actual movie, and then it goes in like the filming part is actually the easiest part of it. The hardest part is going to be throwing it into editing and trying to, you know, get everything to sync up and line up. But with the 2 or 3 filming days that we have scheduled right now, one for like you said next week, and either the final filming day will be in at the end of November or the beginning of December. We'll get that out of the way, and we should have enough for a full trailer at that point. So it's tentative. Don't hold me to it, but I would say before the end of the year.
Awesome. So, I think, sorry. I was like sneaking chocolate while you were talking. Sorry.
There you go.
What I love about you is that you are such an incredible storyteller. So I just want to let everyone know, like, this isn't just some idiot coming off the street who's like, oh, I want to be a filmmaker. Okay. Right. I grew up in LA, so I know those types. Okay.
Right.
This is a man who has studied a lot of literature and watched a lot of movies. He connects a lot of dots. He really is an incredible storyteller. So I know this movie is going to be really, really good. So I'm excited for you, Slayer. All right, now let's get back to some serious shit.
Some serious shit.
Serious shit. What is your worst case scenario if Biden gets elected? You don't have to give any locations. Just a general. What's your general exit strategy?
My general exit strategy is, as unlikely as it is, if you know, the American people actually elect this fucking senile cocksucker, and that's exactly what he fucking is. I don't give a shit. Fuck you, Biden, if you ever watch this. But no, I mean, like, I'm serious. Not to spew off on any kind of a tangent, but there have been Democratic nominees which I see are not that bad people. You know what I mean? And people like to spin that Biden is, oh, he's this nice grandfather. No, fuck that. He's a goddamn fucking criminal. He's a communist sympathizer, and he's a fucking criminal. I mean, look at all the shit that's happening with his kid. I mean, this motherfucker, as vice president, was complicit in taking kickback money from communist China and from Russia. So no, spare me all this. He's a nice guy bullshit. Fuck this senile cocksucker. Anyway. Yeah, my exit strategy is, in the unlikely event that this asshole actually does win re-election, I, of course, have my film that I have to, you know, that's like one of my number one priorities at this point. I'm going to focus almost everything on that, get filmed what I need to get filmed. And as soon as that's done, this house is going right on the market, like almost immediately. And after that gets done or whatever, as little money as I have in the bank or whatever that I make off this house, I'm moving to the reddest of red states I can find. Right now, I'm eyeing up Tennessee, like, you know, we discussed before. I'm eyeing up Tennessee. It's beautiful out there. I'm eyeing up South Dakota, maybe possibly Kentucky and a few other contenders. But right now, that's, I think, for conservatives, that's the safest place for any of us right now, because if Biden wins, I'm going to tell you, this will be communist China 2.0. There's just no question about it. This asshole gets elected. He's probably in office no more, and this is generous, more than 3 months before this fucking bitch takes over, Harris. Yep. Before she takes over.
Heels up, Harris.
Heels up, right. And, don't even be fooled that she's going to be calling the shots. She's going to have so many oligarchs behind her. She's going to have Clinton. She's going to have fucking the Obamas. She's going to have even fucking Bush.
Yep.
They're all going to be thrown in the pot, and they're going to turn this into a communist nation.
Yep.
Make no fucking mistake. So that's what I plan to do on the short term. There's probably eventually going to come to a point, because let's be honest, if the Democrats get their hands back on power, conservatives will never get it back. We will never get it back. We could pack the Senate. We have control of the Supreme Court, and we're eyeing up the House right now. But if the Democrats get the White House, that's all going to be for now. They may be able to stave them off for a little bit. I mean, maybe even a few years, but at some point in time, it's going to be no longer safe for conservatives here at all. So,
I see the writing on the wall, and I 100% agree. And I don't want to. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. After what I've seen from this country, going coast to coast, going to as many events as I have, you know what? I do want to scare you guys. I do want to fucking scare you, okay? Because this is absolutely real. These people have they are so intertwined, energetically, financially. There's all this blackmail going on both sides. Like, they are so intertwined with foreign powers that if you guys really went deep enough down the rabbit hole, you would be scared shitless. People like Sigma do that. People like me do that. People like Axe Truth and Jericho Green do that. Okay. You guys need to get more scared. You need to get more scared, because there's, we already see, we have just begun to scratch the surface of the violence and the corruption and the lawlessness that is happening, to where not only are people in mass exoduses leaving California and New York and, you know, your state of Jersey as well, you know?
Unfortunately, yeah.
So, I mean, it's already at that point. Anyone who can't afford to leave, or who doesn't have any opportunities, or maybe they've already purchased their house and they can't sell it because nobody's moving in anymore. You know, what happens to those people who are left behind? This is why we cannot let these fuckers take over. And if we got to handle it in the street, it will be handled in the street.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunately, I think that most people believe that getting Donald Trump elected, I mean, and you included and myself included, we believe that is, again, if we lose the White House, we lose everything. Okay. The cards will tumble. They will find a way. The Dems will declare martial law to their favor, and God knows what's going to happen. God knows what's going to happen. So, but the battle is going to just be beginning. It's going to just be starting when Donald Trump gets reelected, because we're going to have to deal with over the next 6 months to a year. God knows how long until George Soros money runs out. We still have a huge battle ahead of us.
Absolutely. It's just like, I mean, like, you know, getting the president reelected, that's, like you said, that's only the first part of this battle. Like, he's only going to be president for another 4 years. We have the rest of our lives to contend with here. And this is my firm belief that he is a representative of the type of Republican Party that we fucking need. Let's be honest, with a few exceptions, maybe people like fucking Ted Cruz, maybe Mitch McConnell. I can't even really, too much, but a majority of the Republican Party right now, let's just be honest, are spineless pussies. They need to step up. We need to step up our fucking game here. And I'm not saying for anybody that's, thinking about leaving the Democrats once. I've never tried to convince people like, oh, you should come over to the GOP. I'm not saying that. If you want to leave them, please leave them. You don't have to come to the GOP. You could be a moderate, but just leave that fucking side. But anyway, in order for this country to really change, we need to start electing people that are, like I've always said, that are badasses, that are fucking warriors. You see all these establishment Senate Republicans, and most of them are fucking rhinos. You have assholes like Romney. I mean, what a fucking piece of shit that guy is. You have all these people like, what's this asshole's name that went on the DNC? Kasich. I mean, that is a piece of shit. You have this asshole on the Supreme Court, Roberts. He's not a fucking conservative. My fucking ass. You have people like this that have tried to infiltrate the right that are nothing but left-wing plants. So we need to, elect leaders that will not take any shit, that go after the left side of fucking politics and like, listen, we're done talking. We're done trying to appease people. This is fucking outright war. It's time for the right to declare war on the left. That's what it is. And you know what? I said that I would take it even further. Enough of this bureaucratic political bullshit. Let's go fucking civil war. Let's have the conservatives form their own army. The liberals form their own army. Let's fucking find a battlefield and let's fight this shit out. Because that's all these assholes, that's all they understand at this point. You could fucking pass all the legislation in the world. You can fucking go through all the bureaucratic meetings in the world. And these assholes will not change. The only thing that's going to do it is, unfortunately, I know people say it's radical, but that's all we're left to at this point is fucking violence. We have to go out there. We have to fight this out.
That's the reality of it, people. I'm telling you, I've traveled coast to coast. I'm not impressed with the conservatives. You guys are too nice. You're too quiet. You're too worried about optics, and you still want to play their game on their level, but they don't have the mental capacity to come to our level. You know what I mean? You got to stop. And you know, I'm sorry, Patriots. This is the reality. So you better get yourself protected, figure out what you're going to do, what kind of strategy you have to maintain communication with your family. Because if these people really want to pull some shit, I'm not sure that they won't. I'm not sure that they won't go blow up a cell tower, or they won't go you know, smashing every window in every suburban area and pulling people out of their homes. I'm not sure what they won't do. So we as patriots, our love for our country has to be this much higher than their hatred for it.
Right.
And with that, Sigma, tell everyone how to find you.
My YouTube channel, Slayer Sigma Zeta. Go over there, check out what I have, and if you like it, subscribe. I'm not really on social media. I don't really like all that shit. I was on Facebook for a while until that fucking delved into a cesspool of liberalism. So I'm like, yeah, that shit. That's about the only way. I mean, I have my email too if anybody wants that. But yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much. You are my rager of the year. Your videos have really impacted me. You are such a big part of my YouTube experience, and I'm so happy that you came onto my channel. I couldn't ask for a better rager than you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay. All right. In broadcast.